believe we're live, but I'm not quite sure. Just want to make sure my microphone is working. You know how it goes. It has been a minute since I've been on YouTube. I tell you what. I've been good. I watched YouTube shorts a little bit, but overall, and I hope you can hear me actually. Hello. It should be working. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So, hello guys. Yeah, it's been a minute, and life has changed. Um, Things are different now. I have just this video is kind of the purpose. I kind of have a different perspective on my channel now. It's less, um, make a video because I want views. More make a video to update my friends and family who do watch. I hope that the sound is okay. It doesn't sound like it's very loud. Sorry if I just destroyed your eardrums, by the way. For any of you who are watching after this is done. So far, no one's watching, but that's okay. Honestly, I intended this to just become a go with the flow video that happened to be a live stream. Just feels more natural, feels more usual. So, with that being said, there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about in this video. That is what the purpose is. I realize it has been quite a minute since I was last on YouTube. Actually, you guys haven't even seen the new hair. It's hat hair at the moment. It's not great. I mean, it's curly, but it's not that great. But yeah, I got a haircut. That was one thing. That was kind of big change. Actually, it changed my personality. Yo, whoever's watching this stuff. But it was a big change actually because it changed how I thought. It's weird. You would think that having your hair would do that. But the last time I made a video was 3 months ago, which actually feels like forever ago. So, that being said, let's get into it. So there's a couple things that I want to update my friends and family about. Now, the first thing is, musical update, because I feel like that's pretty important. I've said this for the last 2 years now, but I've been actually probably longer, actually. Sorry, but been working on things for the past around 2 years, legitimately, with a legit music editor and all that stuff, and been doing stuff with that guitar, which is a PRS Custom SE24. Yeah, so finally I'm gonna get stuff out. I produced a song with my brother-in-law, and we're almost done mixing it, I believe, and then he's gonna finish mastering it, and then we got a song out. It's called You. It's a pretty, in my opinion. I mean, I'm the one who made it, so but I like it. I would actually listen to it, and it's cool because I didn't really make music when I first started writing music that I would listen to, and I think it's really cringy to listen to myself. But I'm learning to listen to myself more. YouTube videos, I don't like watching my YouTube videos that I've made, but that's another thing. Is I stutter a lot more now, I think, than I have in the past. I hope this sounds good. I'm kind of worried that it's just really quiet. If it is, I'm just gonna turn it up. So get ready to adjust your volume. Okay, it's just weird. I think it's YouTube has a filter for it or something. But anyways, yeah. So I am releasing a song soon. I'm gonna get it out there. It has been way too long. I apologize to the people who have been I told 2 years ago I'm gonna release a song soon, and soon turned into a relative time, which ended up being 2 years later. If it even gets released, honestly, I'm half expecting it not to, even though we already have it done. But it hopefully should get released soon. We have finished producing it, and it's just gonna fine tune some stuff. And then after that, he'll send the file to me. I'll upload it, and I will make a big announcement. Whoa, what the Trump hands was that? I'll make a big announcement, and after I do that, there will be a lot more videos. There are going to be a bunch of videos probably. And I'm not really used to being a music artist, like publicly, you know. So, anyways, once that's done, I will, yeah, the song will be out, an artist will be established, and the journey shall, I won't say begin, but the public journey shall begin. There's some other main things on my mind. Christianity wise, I'm just gonna get through this part. If you're not a Christian, that's okay, you can skip it, it's alright. But for all my Christians out there, this is just, and if you even are interested in it and you're not a Christian, that's cool too. But there's just some things that I kind of wanted to point out that are kind of where I'm walking at the moment. Now, there's a couple things. The first thing is trusting God. I feel like there's a lot of these things that are Christianese that we say in the church nowadays, and even back then, but they kind of lose their meaning when they're repeated so much. And I feel like sometimes we don't give the message, and maybe it's just an individual person thing, where like each person will have to figure out what that means to them. But I also think that people say things sometimes too much without getting to the importance of it necessarily, like, or glaze over it, or even repeat it at its full importance too much. You know, we're supposed to constantly ponder and talk about the message of the cross, Jesus. I'm not saying don't do that, but I think when you sometimes go too far, you can go too far in not in talking about him, but you can never go too far in talking about Jesus. But as long as you're saying good things, because there's a way to say things about Jesus that aren't true. But specifically, like when I feel like oftentimes things can get repeated to the degree where they lose their meaning in your head, even though the meaning is still very real and there, and you know it. You're just like, yeah, I've heard it a lot. I grew up in the church, so growing up in the church and you hear all these things, you're like, I have the grace of God and all these things, and you're just like, okay, I hear it, whatever. It doesn't really have a meaning to me, but it does. It takes a long time to find it, and maybe you don't struggle with this, and this is just my journey. So for me, it took a long time to kind of be like, oh, I see the importance of this and the meaning of it now. It means so much and defines a lot and kind of shapes the way I think more, or at least for that season, but it'll continually be that way. So trusting in God's good. I feel like that's one thing. Trust in God, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean on your own understanding. Acknowledge Him always and make the path straight. I believe. I could have said something wrong there, but I believe that's exactly what it is. In Proverbs 3:5, yes, indeed, which says on the cross. But, that is something that I've learned recently has been kind of pivotal. Trusting in God, I went through a very tough, I might have talked about this in my testimony thus far video a few months ago, but I went through this really difficult period last summer, about a year ago. Some stuff happened. Some of it was my fault, and I was a wreck for probably 6 to 9 months, and that was probably my lowest point ever. It was not good. I just could not get out of my way of thinking. It was really bad. Even though I was like doing well with God, I was feeling His presence, and I was starting to learn more about Him and to be able to live more like Him. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put my hand over here. I was not doing well. I mean, that's possible. I mean, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. And I wouldn't say that all of the stuff that happened then was my fault. I think a lot of it was important to mixed messages, etc. But which sounds weird out loud. It wasn't that bad. But anyways, it was difficult to walk through. And then something happened that, I grew closer to God throughout that season. I wasn't as connected with Him. I started to feel kind of an intimacy with God. And then as my life progressed throughout that season, I grew closer to Him and understood Him more and just loved Him more. And so, that was just beautiful to feel, to see. Feeling isn't everything, but feel. I tell you, there's nothing I think I'd rather feel in this life. If I could choose between the love of a human and the love of God, I'm just saying, it feels amazing to have the joy of the Lord. It is, and that's another thing that I talk about a lot, I think, or maybe I think about it a lot. I feel like I've told a lot of my friends this. Also, ignore my cringy shirt. I got it when I was wearing a Gollum costume because I didn't know what to wear. I wasn't just going to appear with a Gollum mask at random strangers' doors, on Halloween with, shirtless and go, I want candy. Also, for that one person who just joined right then and saw that, go watch for context because that just sounds really weird. Well, it's not that weird. But anyways, so throughout that time, I learned. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. The joy of the Lord, that thing. That's a phrase that gets tossed around so much, and it kind of makes me angry because when you do feel that, it is. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a strength like no other. The feeling when you're just like, I don't know. If you haven't felt that, I'm praying for y'all. Hold up one second. I just want to make sure I'm over here. Sorry, someone just joined right there. It's alright. It might actually be a person who was texting me. But, yeah. So throughout that time, I learned that I needed Him. And then after that time ended, it ended in an instant when it ended. And I realized that a lot of it was my fault. And I realized, like, oh, God was with me and revealed Himself to me, even though I was still wrong a lot of the time. And knowing that He still cared and revealed Himself to me and loved me and showed Himself to me. I know I said revealed, but like really. Even though I was walking not in truth, and actually a lot of it was that I knew that I was wrong, but I wasn't willing to come to terms with it because it was painful. So coming to terms with that and realizing God still showed Himself. How amazing is that? Really made me trust His plan because I realized that He made me go through that. He didn't make me go through it. We get into the argument of free will and predestination. I'm not getting into that right now. That's a whole big topic. But, me going through that got me closer to God. And when I realized I was wrong, I was like, wow, I didn't understand why God would make me go through that. That really horrible pain that I couldn't get through. And I realize now that going through that, bringing me closer to God, I am not the same I am that I was a year ago. I don't think anyone's the same that I was a year ago. But I'm much different than I would be if you pick any random year. I'm closer to God. I'm able to talk to people about God more. And I have a relationship with Him. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to close the video now. I'll make another video sometime talking about some other stuff that's on my mind. I got a list right here. But I just wanted to make like a probably 15-minute video about some stuff. So if you have any questions about God at all, I mean, it's the most important thing we can ponder in life. I think I would say that even as an atheist, agnostic, anything like that, I think I would still say that's the most important thing you can ponder is there a God? And if so, do I want a relationship with Him? Because what type of God is He? And throughout a journey where I have talked to some brilliant atheists, some brilliant Christians, I have come to the conclusion that there is a God. Not only is there a God, but I do want to be in a relationship with Him because He loves me so much. And He loves you so much. And the church misrepresents this a lot of the time. I think Christian fellowship is so important, but the hard thing about it is that Christians are fallible. We get a lot wrong. We're equally sinful. We're equally in need of forgiveness and grace. And so sometimes in our human error, we misrepresent who God truly is. And that's why only God knows who God is fully and can reveal himself to what he truly is. So, anyways, I'll stop getting into the whole word mess there. But I challenge you to open your Bible and just try to read without having those other voices that you've heard over the years from people who profess to be Christians but didn't seem godly or anything, or even kind or loving or anyway. I challenge you to open the book, read that way, and see what you see. See what you reveal. Start reading. See what God shows you. Read John first is my challenge. And try reading Genesis. That's what I've heard is a great idea. That's some evangelist. I think he's from Living Waters, if I'm thinking of the right one. But try reading without a bias. You can have questions. I'm not saying, read like, I'm accepting everything I'm reading just like off the bat. That would be foolish, truly. But read with an open mind. You can be skeptical. That's a good thing. But read openly and try to read for what the word is saying and the example you see from Jesus. Like sometimes you can also get into a robotic thing. That's sometimes I struggle with that. It's like sometimes it seems like the things Jesus says seem robotic or something like that. But you look at the meaning behind it. I mean, you're reading a book from 2,000 plus years ago. I mean, they weren't necessarily all like wording wise, extremely, lovey-dovey with everyone. But you do see a lot of things Jesus says are like obviously out of love. But then there's the meaning behind a lot of the things that don't seem like that. And they are out of love still. So I'll stop. But yeah. So this is a minor life update. There's a lot more behind the scenes that's happening. I could use prayer because I am a Christian. I'm sinful, I'm fallible, and I'm in desperate need of help. So, thanks for watching this. Whoever watched it, I'm just making it be a bag all day, honestly. That's all. So, peace. Knock Walker out. Peace in Jesus.